President, how's the re-election campaign?
They have subsidized demand, and so the schools have been really divorced from actual free market incentives and accountability. They've been able to jack their rates up far more than what the average person could afford to pay. You know, I'm a perfect example. I went to a private school. I think it was $40,000 a year. Me and my parents could never have afforded to pay that without student loans, and therefore would not have done so had the government not been inflating that demand. But because they do that, colleges can keep jacking their rates up far higher than what the person can actually afford to do, and the chickens don't come home to roost for some years later. There's another piece of research from the New York Fed that found for every dollar the federal government has spent for student loans, colleges raise their tuition by 60 cents. So we know that just simply throwing more money at the problem would actually make things worse. If you were to come in and cancel student debt, there's no doubt in my mind that these colleges and universities would continue to just build more expensive buildings, pay their administrations more. And I think what needs to happen is actually the opposite. There needs to be a reckoning with these institutions because a lot of them have lied to people. They have inflated their rates for placements. They've told students they'll make a lot more money than they will in certain degrees. And when those students, are buried in debt or going bankrupt, the colleges never have to answer for the fact that they sold a false bill of goods. So this was something the Trump administration floated several years ago I actually liked, where I think these schools should actually be more on the hook when their degrees are ending up in bankruptcy or when people can't pay their debt. I think that many things that are currently degrees should not be degrees. We have a bit of research that shows I think fewer than 50% of people end up even working in the field that they get their degree in. Many people 5 years after graduation, I think over 1/3, are working in jobs that don't even necessarily require a college degree. So we need to quit pushing everybody in. We need to quit inflating demand. And then the supply side would have to come down. They'd have to reduce their rates.
We're seeing